What's up, cheeseheads? Before we get into today's podcast, we wanted to tell you about what Ethan and I have been up to in 2022. Something very exciting. It's a new product that we have launched for employee engagement called the Pool Boys. Tell them what's up.
That's right. So right here, as you can see, the Pool Boys, what we want to do is create an awesome environment for your office pools. So we're going to come in, we're going to run everything for small business owners, large business owners, basically business owners, where we want to come in, provide an awesome red carpet experience where we up the engagement, up the fun by running your office pools, whether it be March Madness. We got some fun fall offerings, whether it be college football pick'em, NFL pick'em, Survivor. We got you covered no matter what the pool is. We are your boys for it. So let's get going.
That's right. This is an employee engagement play. If you're having any trouble at all with retention or engagement or even internal communication, let the Pool Boys take a look and show you some of the products that we can offer. We shoot customized videos with these handsome fellas, and we send them to your team, and we talk trash about your people. It's so much fun. I got to tell you.
We build you up too. Don't worry. It's not just trash, but there is a lot of trash.
There is some trash. All right, guys, check us out at www.thepoolboys.net, and we're going to get into the episode now. Welcome into Fold in the Cheese. It's your boy K-Troll on the mic today. I'm joined as always by my man, Ethan Gelfand. What is happening, brother?
Nothing much, man. Just a glorious Tuesday. Again, just counting down the days. Can't wait for the season to start. Let's go. Hey, by the way, so I just said let's go, which I don't normally say it. All of a sudden, Brady, my boy, he's saying it all the time.
Really?
Like, we're playing video games like, let's go. Like,
he's been watching YouTube videos of gamers, no doubt. That's got to be like their catchphrase.
But like, I don't know where it's come from. I mean, maybe the whole YouTube thing, like, I don't say that often. Kirsten doesn't say it. I was like, okay, cool.
My kids are so my son who's 8, he does bruh, come on, bruh. Wow. Let's go, bruh. Which of course I never say that. I would never say that, but he gets that obviously from either friends at school or gamers or whatever. And then he'll also say yeet, which is like a year-old, couple-year-old catchphrase. And then my 5-year-old recently, we were playing with the Encanto playset that she has, a little figurines. She threw one of them over the playset and goes, yeet!
Little mini yeet. Little baby
my God.
Yeet.
It was awesome. First time I've heard her say that.
I was going to say, I don't think my kids know the yeet. So I think I'm good there. But yeah, that's his new thing. He'll get a bowl of cereal. Let's go!
Let's go! Lucky Charms.
Okay, that's a lie. He doesn't eat cereal. If I'm embarrassed to say what he actually had for breakfast this morning, he had dumplings. So I got this big old bag from Costco, and I just cook them up on the front, on the pan.
What's in the dumplings?
Later, dumplings.
What's in the dumplings?
It's like chicken.
What's in the dumplings?
What's in the dumplings? It's not a head, so that's good.
That's good.
Spoiler alert. But no, it's chicken. It's little veggies in there, just like you get at a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude, yeah. I love those too. I would eat those for breakfast.
They are delightful.
Okay. Well, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't bring any of those down whenever you came to visit. That's pretty clutch. Clutch. Today we are covering the NFC East. I am rocking a throwback here. 2-1. That's my boy Tiki Barber.
Tiki, man.
Throwback. This was one I used to wear in college, which again got this jersey on like eBay or somewhere, and then the year later he retired. But he was a fantasy superstar for me early on in my career.
Well, he was a stud for he had a 3-ish year period where he just blew up, because it was interesting. Like the first 5 years of his career, he didn't really do that much. Like he was always solid, but never, and then he was paired with Ron Dane, old Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah.
But then, was it after Dane left or just, got
I think Dane left and Jacobs was kind of coming in.
Yeah. But he was a 1,500-yard rusher, would get you 500 yards receiving. Tiki was a beast for those 3 years.
Those last couple years, he was a legit workhorse, like McCaffrey-esque workhorse.
And he kind of left on top. He retired.
Yeah,
he wasn't that old, and
it was a little surprising.
Wasn't dropping off yet. He just I'm done.
Yeah, it was a little surprising, which was the first surprise of my jersey retirement career.
Yeah, that
And
was
I
it.
was like, no.
Like, my guy.
Well,
Oh,
I had a spurt in there where I wanted to get the star on my fantasy team. I want to get their jersey every
okay.
year. And so that was like that started in college. And so that's how I got Tiki and then Warwick Dunn as well. That's how I kind of
Wait,
got those guys going. And
Warwick
then
Dunn was the star of your fantasy
he
team?
was one of my stars. Yeah, for sure. Dude, I was winning. I was winning. You remember my teams that had Sam Gatto? You remember that guy for the
I
Packers?
do.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
Packers, right?
Billy Volek. Remember Billy
Uh,
Volek?
wasn't it whose team was Billy Volek sucks? Was that your brother's?
No, that was my team. That was
Oh,
my
that
team.
was your
Yeah,
team?
that was my team.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it was
good.
a championship team actually.
There it is.
And
There
Billy
it
Volek,
is.
former Titans quarterback.
Yes, he was.
But yeah, anyway, we gotta jump into the NFC East today, and we're
Ooh,
only gonna do one division today, and we're gonna start doing one division in the next few episodes here.
yes.
Really hone in. There's a lot of meat in the
So much
NFC
meat.
East.
Spacing it out.
Spacing it out a little bit. We've also got a return of the segment on campus. I'm going to grill you with some positional universities and see if you can figure out who I'm talking about here.
Man, I feel like I don't know why I just have a bad like you crushed it when I gave you the on campus. Like I gave you like a middle of the road one. It wasn't like that hard, but wasn't that easy. I feel like I'm gonna embarrass myself. This is bad. So without further ado, let's go into the NFC East.
Yeah, this was not the easiest one. I even had to research one of the players who I'm not even sure is the right person to profile, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All
Fair.
right, Dallas Cowboys ended up on top of the East last year, 12-5 record, mostly intact offensively, other than one huge name, Amari Cooper, as we mentioned last episode, head to the
Yes.
Browns. So the wide receiver room, and I put Cedric Wilson on here as well, just because the wide receiver room is going to look pretty different this
A
year.
lot different, yeah.
I think they said CD Lamb's the only player to have caught a touchdown in the NFL or something that's in the receiving room right now. They've got Noah Brown, hung over from last year, who was actually like a decent little player. He didn't get a lot of run, but he actually could flash. Everyone was excited about Michael Gallup. This was like his breakout, but he's still recovering from an injury.
Yeah.
So we're not sure
But
exactly when he's going to be back.
well, I mean, that's the ACL. So what's so weird about we talked about Achilles, like that's legit year. With the ACL, it really depends on like one how they fixed it because there are different approaches you can take. Because sometimes it's as early as like 6 to 7 months, then other
Mhm.
times it's like 9 to 12.
Yep.
So it's really bizarre. I know they're taking it kind of slow with him, but I don't know. I don't know when have you heard that he's coming back?
So the reports are saying I've seen anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks missed, up to maybe 4 weeks if they do like the pup list.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the most reasonable estimate. But it's kind of in that Chris Godwin territory too. Same injury, same time
same time
frame.
period. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think those are going to be two big names people are going to want to hear about because if he's healthy, I think people are
I
going to
mean,
be pretty all in on Michael Gallup this
I mean,
year.
he's wide receiver two for them. I
Yep.
mean, so last year, who would you say was two? Was it Cooper or CD?
I think CD was two. I think Cooper
Think
was one.
so?
Yeah.
That was such. I feel like that was such a disappointing wide receiver core last year because
Tell
Amari
me
Cooper.
about it. Tell
I
me
mean,
about
obviously
it.
you knew that, but like I don't know, man. CD Lamb obviously has such flashes of potential and such a big play capability, and Amari Cooper can just come out and like make these spectacular catches on the sideline, all like tiptoeing. I just felt like they could have done so much more, that duo. I don't know. Like you look in the Minnesota, you have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and when Stephon Diggs was there, like they were feeding those mouths like crazy.
Yep.
Thielen and Stephon Diggs were both 1,200 yards receivers, I want to feel like, in their last year together or something like that. And did Cooper get more than 850?
I don't know. He missed a little bit of time with injury,
A
and then he came
little,
back and he
but
was like pretty hobbled. Like there were several games where he was always on the sideline with that deep massaging tool thing, like rubbing himself down, like, and they'd run back out on the field. And you're just thinking,
like,
dude, if it's that bad, like maybe just sit out for a week and get it right, you know?
yeah, and then obviously your boy CD, as we saw with the do it bet board, like he had a chance because my boy Godwin went down, so I had a built up lead with him. So CD had a chance to win, but man, he just tanked at the end of the year. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how he does as the clear wide receiver one, and really not really unless Gallup comes back a true number two behind him.
CD to me is so frustrating because there were flashes in his rookie year where he was completely unguardable and
Yeah,
he would get like 6 consecutive catches. And he's just like he's over the middle, run these dig routes, and no one can stop him. And I
true.
was just like, this guy's going to be an absolute monster. And then, like, for whatever reason, and obviously there is a reason, Dak Prescott's a legit quarterback, so I'm
Yes.
sure he can see the field well. But for whatever reason, they're just like he just faded entirely for games
Yeah.
at a time, and it's
I
kind of
mean,
like, how do you go away for two for 38 or something when you're that good,
I guess he did have a slight injury towards the end of season 2, didn't he? Wasn't he, like, a little banged up, but nothing of serious note. There's no reason why he should have dropped off that much, but didn't he tweak something?
Not that I remember. I mean, nothing serious, nothing that held him out really.
Okay.
I mean, he might have missed a game, but that's the NFL. It's
Right.
nothing any different than anybody else is dealing with.
You're not wrong. So,
So I don't
not
know. That was frustrating. But
it
that's going
was.
to be a key to their success this year. Is going to be getting CD going early and often, making
Mhm.
him a true number one, finding his number two. They brought in James Washington. He might be done for the season already. He got hurt. He got hurt in camp, so he wasn't going to be a superstar, but he could have
No,
been their number three. He could have
but
he
he's
could
a
have taken
solid
Gallup's
guy.
role. He is
I mean, he was a
solid.
solid guy in Pittsburgh, and he just
Yep.
never had the chance to have those opportunities.
Yep.
He was always playing behind a couple guys, so he was probably gonna battle for the number 2, but I don't
Yep.
know. But,
So he's
yeah,
probably gone.
I'm sorry, it's the Cowboys, so we have to bring up your boy.
Oh gosh,
I'm sorry. I know it's still a sore subject, but Zeke, man, I
sore
mean,
forever.
I've been reading all these, like, pre-draft, pre-fantasy draft, like, projections and stuff like that. People have him listed down as low as RB17. Uh, one, I know you're biased right now, but do you think that's fair? Do you think that's too low? Do you think that's where it's supposed to, like, what do you think of that?
I think he's going to be a value this year because of how much he shit on people last year, myself included. Like, I do have to remind myself he played through an injury pretty much all year.
He did.
And remember, he was even saying stuff like, "My knee's just not going to be right all year." And they're like, "Okay, well,
Well,
could you get it right, or is it
well,
ever going to be right
he did.
again, or like what is this? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And he just kept playing, and so like kudos to him for like from a real football standpoint. Kudos to him for toughing it out and just making it through. But as a fantasy manager, it drove you crazy because you're like, I
Well,
gotta start him. He's Zeke, but he's very ineffective. I think you'll see a different guy this year,
okay.
probably truer to form in his previous years, although he's lost some work share to our
Tony
boy
Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he'll be healthy and effective, but have less opportunities. That's my
Okay.
my guess.
I mean, okay, so now with the receiving room the way it is, do you think he might have some more opportunities catching balls out the backfield?
Yeah, for sure. I think he and Pollard for sure. I mean, Pollard, I think everyone thinks he's the better pass catcher because he's been more often a third down back, but Zeke's got good hands too.
Yeah,
He was very effective as a receiver and had receiving touchdowns
they did.
as
They had a
well.
couple.
So I think they're both very competent. They're definitely going to have to fill some of the void from Amari Cooper. The Fantasy Footballers, really good podcast that I listen to occasionally as well. They mentioned that one of the biggest beneficiaries when a lead receiver leaves a team, that receptions void, people are always looking around like who's going to catch those,
Right.
who's going to get those 140 targets or whatever. Oftentimes the biggest beneficiary is in the running backs. So
Hmm.
I would expect that you'll see a lot more of that. I think Dalton Schultz is going to be a beast this year. I think he's
He
really
was
going to
great
be
last year.
rock solid. Top
Yeah.
7 tight end for sure in my book. Sky's
Okay.
the limit.
All right. So there we go. Those are the boys. Your
Those are the
boys, man.
boys.
Those are the boys. Who we got
Let's
next?
move on to the
To
Eagles.
the vaunted Eagles. 9-8 last year, second in the East. Man, I don't know what to make. I mean, as you can see, obviously they have one big, huge key addition,
Yeah.
but then like nothing else. No
Yeah.
departure. So it's you're rolling with the same squad.
Pretty much. I mean, they're as we mentioned last time, there are changes on the line, there are changes
Right.
on defense, and
Fantasy wise.
but yeah, fantasy wise, that's the big name, and it's maybe not a huge fantasy name, although there were some like games when he was effective. Jordan Howard has not re-signed yet, to my knowledge, so the four-headed backfield that they've had historically may be down to 3 at this point.
Maybe.
But yeah, AJ Brown is a big name here. What are your thoughts on him going to the Eagles? New team. I guess he's got a great friendship with Jalen Hurts, which I didn't know about.
Great.
Whatever.
So I mean, just like you were biased with Zeke because of a poor performance, I'm a little biased with AJ. I wasted I think it was my second round pick on him. Because again, everyone had high expectations for him. He had a great year before, and you just think even bigger things with Julio going to be there. Obviously, he had some nagging injuries, so that was frustrating. And Tannehill took a half step back. So from that sense, he was very disappointing to me last year. Moving to the Eagles, he's obviously your clear number one with a great running mate in Devontae Smith. I think that's going to be a great number two. You got another great receiver in the tight end spot with Dallas Goedert. So he's got the tools around him that he's going to still have his space and opportunities, which is great. Now you're looking at the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Is he your true prototypical lighted up quarterback for a wide receiver? I know he's your guy.
He is my
So
guy.
maybe I'll let you speak to him a little bit more, but um, I think AJ Brown is going to have a good year. I think he'll be a solid fit there, but again, the prototypical quarterback is not there. And I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill is your more traditional one, so that's why he did have success. I just think his production might not be as high as everyone's thinking, just because Jalen will do it with his legs. He gets a lot of other people involved to get the backfield involved. As you said, the three-headed monster with the running game. So I think they're a little more focused on the running game with the Eagles this year. But I mean, he's going to be a big weapon for them, and I think he could. But his ceiling is not going to be as high in Philly. I think he'll still be good, but his ceiling will be a little bit lower.
I think that I agree and disagree, I guess is what you're saying. Like, completely see your points. I think that having a more legitimate number two is a huge help for him. And I think
Yep.
Devontae Smith is a better number two at this point in his career than a hobbled Julio was. If Julio were healthy, I wouldn't say that, but he wasn't healthy. And
Right.
neither was AJ. And
Neither
to,
was
to your
AJ.
point, like AJ was kind of like Zeke, where he every week it was kind of like, am I going to play? Am I not going to play? Oh, I'll tough it out and I'll show up. And you're like, oh gosh. And then you miss like, two, they're like, we're going to get him healthy. We're going to give him 3 weeks off. And you're like, okay, well, at least I know I don't want my second round pick to be gone for 3 weeks, but at least I know he's going to come back healthy. And then
Right.
came back, he's still not healthy. And you're like, okay, this is so annoying.
Well, I
So
think
I
what was
agree
the
with you
game
there.
last year where you and your brother were at the game and I started AJ Brown. I'm like, all right. And then it's like
It was like first series.
right. He had one catch for 8 yards. I'm like, great start, great start. And then you're texting me, hey, just AJ Brown is just chilling on the
He's on
sideline.
the exercise bike. He's on the ground. He's not playing anymore.
Right. Oh, come on.
Yeah, that was brutal. But so I think I do question what you said about Jalen, though. Not because I'm standing up for him, but maybe more situationally. So the one thing I'd say about Devontae Smith's rookie year last year
Yeah.
is tough for a rookie to carry the full load of the receiving room. They had nobody else to
They
throw
had
to.
Jalen Rager.
Jalen Rager is okay, maybe a nice complimentary piece, but not a number two and not a number one,
No.
certainly. Quez Watkins was getting some play. They had some randos stepping in there like Greg Ward, and I don't even remember the dude who had like a couple of monster weeks at the beginning of the season. But like, so for Devontae Smith not to have like a 1,500-yard season as a rookie is not at all surprising.
No,
And
of
I
course
also don't think that's an indictment on Jalen Hurts' ability to make a
not.
number one receiver.
It's
And
not. I
so
mean, their offensively, their team wasn't great last year, but that's not, as you said, it's not speaking to Jalen. It's not speaking to Devontae. It's just the pieces they had.
I think with these pieces, though, they can be a more predictably balanced team. And I think one of the things last year was like they went that whipsaw of like, we're never going to run the ball. And then the fans started booing them to like, we're always running the ball. And then the fans start booing them. And it's kind of like, okay, if you have enough pieces at the right positions, you can actually have a balanced offense. And
It's Philly, man. They're
it
never
opens
going
up
to
for
be
everybody. I do get that. The Philly fans are the woat. They hate everything they do there,
they
which is
are
kind
the
of funny.
woe.
It's kind of funny. But I will say, I think AJ will have a better year than you're giving him credit for. I always question, a big name receiver going to a new team. Like, it usually takes at least half a season, if not a full season, for them to really get acclimated and really blow up. But I think either this year or next year, it's going to be actually a good move for AJ. The Titans, you got to remember, are like one of the run heaviest teams in the league. And when they do pass, it's quick, slants and crossers and stuff. Like, it's not a lot of deep balls. It's not, Tannehill's not as mobile as he once was, at least not by design. So I think Jalen can get him open a little easier, maybe.
Okay. So, but to your point, and I know we're going to be doing our rankings later. That's coming up in the next couple episodes. But so, where are you putting him? Are you using a third, fourth round pick? You waiting on him, or what do you think?
I think I don't, I'd have to mock it out to see like round wise where he goes, but
Sure.
I think he's still probably like a back end wide receiver one. I'd feel more comfortable personally as a wide receiver two, because some of the elite guys are like, I feel so much more confident they're going to produce. But if you had him as your number one, I wouldn't feel terrible because you know what he can do.
Right.
I think he's probably just a back end one, like a 12th ish
So,
wide receiver.
real quick, going on a draft strategy. Let's just say you go running back heavy. You're doing first round, second round, and then maybe you reach on a quarterback. Which so you'd be happy having AJ Brown if you pick him up as wide receiver 1 in like the 4th.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ecstatic.
I'd be pretty stoked about that.
Okay.
I think he's probably going to be a third rounder and maybe even creep into the second end of the second, maybe. But I think he's probably comfortably more of a third round guy, depending on the size of your league.
Okay. Fair.
Just a guess. We'll see.
That's fair.
We'll see. All right. Washington Commanders. A lot of change here. Some big change. Biggest change. Fitzmagic retired. I don't even think he played a game for them last year.
No, he played like once again like the first series.
The first series of the season. And then
like,
it was yeah. Then it was Nathan Favre that came in there and took over.
Yes.
So that doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's more just funny.
Wait, what about Key Edition's new name?
New name. That's true. You know what? Just like the Heinz Field change.
Right.
They are now the Commanders. They're not just the football team, which was
the Woofed.
Pathetically stupid.
Yes.
Like why you couldn't settle on a name in a season is just ridiculous to me. But anyway, they got a new logo. Still the ugly burgundy colors. So sorry about your luck on that one. But they brought in Carson Wentz. He's going to be their savior. He's going to
wild card.
He's going to bring them to NFC East supremacy. He's back in the East. He's going to have 2 revenge games with the Eagles every year.
Is he circling the games against the Eagles, or the Eagles circling against him? Like, this is going to be awesome. Like, which one is it?
Fletcher Cox and all the other defensive players on the Eagles are like, oh, hell yeah.
They're just licking their
Can't wait to get a hold of this dude. Yeah. I mean, say what you will about him. We kind of did the same thing last year with Indy. It's like he's a competent quarterback. He is mistake prone and he is choke prone. So,
but what's just so wild is 3-4 years ago, he was an MVP candidate. MVP, like he was unstoppable.
So was RG3 for this same team 7 years ago, you know?
Not wrong. It's just wild. It's just how, I mean, granted, it's a big injury. It's a big time injury, but just how things can just change like that.
Yep.
So, yeah. But anyway, so obviously they got Carson. They went on the draft, got Jahan Dotson from Penn State. People were saying that was probably a reach because what was that? That was like the 15th, 16th pick.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, 16, I think.
I mean, he's got a lot of talent. So, I mean, I think he's going to have a little bit of chip on his shoulder just to say, hey, like, this was not a stretch. This was not a waste. I'm here for a reason. He's going to show it. Everything I've been reading, I always love just reading like the off-season camp reports and all that stuff. And they just keep saying like he just makes the most ridiculous athletic cat, like over the shoulder, falling down, one-handed. I mean, if there's anyone that Carson Wentz needs, it's someone who can make the crazy catches. So
catching the ball is important for a receiver.
Yes,
so I do like that.
Our case.
They're going to get Curtis Samuel back, I think, this year as well, which they were excited about last year. Never kind of got healthy for that. So they could have a nice little 1-2-3 with McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel. They'll have some speedsters, that's for sure.
The only probably the lacking is, I mean, I guess McLaurin's pretty good size, but Dotson's not. I can't remember Samuel, how big he is.
Samuel's a smaller guy too.
Yeah. So
yeah, we'll see. Brian Robinson's running back out of Alabama. That was an interesting pick, I thought, because Antonio Gibson was supposed to become this workhorse. Ron Rivera comes in there. He's like, he's our CMC. I, of course, drafted him second round everywhere last year, and it never materialized. He killed me.
He ruined everybody's team, whoever drafted him.
He finished as like a top 15 running back, which is one of those annoying stats because you're like, it's because you weren't injured kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like you were just there.
Yeah, you were just there every week. But it was never exciting. And he had like a shin, like a hairline fracture in his shin, like all year, sort of. Kind of like Zeke, where you're just like, ugh.
Well, with Washington last year, between McLaurin and Gibson, those were the two like hottest names coming into all the fantasy drafts. It's like you want Terry McScorin, like Gibson's going to be a beast. Those were literally the two hottest names, and then they both were just such disappointments.
Yeah, it was not good.
Not good.
But Brian Robinson is a big dude, and he has carried a workload before at Bama. He could steal goal line work. He's definitely insurance for Gibson. I think it pushes JD McKissick to like a true third down role
JD,
where you don't have any concern that he's going to be an early down back.
That was a daily fantasy stud, old JD.
He was good for, 11, 12, 13 points every week in PPR. And I think for in a PPR league, he's a totally serviceable, like 0 RB strategy for like your third guy, second guy, whatever. Right. There's always, it used to be like Theo Riddick was that guy every year. Theo Riddick was like a total beast in PPR for the Lions. And he would get like 90 receptions a year. And so you could play him at your running back slot and get it almost as many points as a normal, workhorse. So it's kind of a cheat code there. I think McKissick is kind of in that same vein right now.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting they drafted Sam Howell. I'm on record as saying I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I
Oh,
don't think
not
he's
at
going to
all.
make it at all.
No.
People think he's great for whatever reasons. I mean, he had that huge year in Carolina.
I was gonna
But
say they were prolific college offense, but that doesn't
yeah,
necessarily
he
mean
also
anything.
had like 5 first-round NFL talent
Yeah.
players around him, including like Javonte Williams and Michael Carter,
I was
who
gonna
were
say the running backs alone.
the running backs were total monsters. So like getting to watch him several times in college, I don't know. I don't see it personally, but you know what? He's honestly maybe he's going to play kind of like Carson Wentz. I mean, we'll see. It's a good person for him to mentor behind because he's got a similar style. And then they drafted Chris Paul, who's a guard from Tulsa. Oh, he's a
Oh,
lineman. He's a
he's
big
not a
dude.
Wake Forest basketball player.
CP, what up? Had to throw that in there.
You're gonna get that jersey?
I'm gonna get it.
He'll get traded then.
He'll get traded immediately. Yeah, or cut. He never even made the team. Who knows?
That's fair.
All right, let's move on to the Giants.
The
Dude, these additions and departures are not exciting.
oh my god.
They departed both their tight ends, Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. They brought in 2 other below average tight ends, and Ricky Seals-Jones and Jordan Akins. Like, I don't know. That's kind of a wash for me, honestly.
Oh, that's a complete wash.
I don't even know what to say about all that. I did find it interesting they brought in Tyrod, because I've always liked Tyrod Taylor. I've always thought he's like a totally serviceable quarterback. And Daniel Jones has been really up and down.
Yes.
And so I think they're kind of like, listen, if this thing really goes south, they got new coaches, GMs, and everything. This thing really goes south. We just dump this Daniel Jones experiment, put in Tyrod in there to steady the ship, and draft a quarterback next year.
If you're putting in Tyrod to steady the ship,
I think he's a steady force.
he's a something. But is Daniel Jones, is he still on his rookie contract? Is this got to be the last year? Right?
Yeah, I think it's the last year of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yikes. And shoot, him. Well, wait, no, he can't be because
he was in
Saquon's
Kyler's
on
class.
His final deal.
Daniel Jones was in Kyler's class because that was the draft in Nashville I went to.
Yeah, but Daniel Jones was a first round pick. Obviously, he was like 6th. But Saquon, he's on his rookie deal, end of his rookie deal too. I mean, am I dumb that all rookie deals are the same length?
I don't think they have to be. I think you can pick up an option.
Okay.
As opposed to extend.
Okay.
They can do like a 5th-year option maybe or a 4th-year option instead of signing a new deal. That's probably what I'd have to research it. I don't know for sure, but
that boy, check that out for me, please.
Nobody cares other than Daniel Jones is playing for now.
He is the quarterback position right now.
Yeah. They did draft Wan'Dale Robinson out of Kentucky, it was an interesting pick because he's a slot receiver, and they've already got Sterling Shepard and Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
The dude had 104 receptions last year in college. That's like a 12-game season. I mean, dude is putting in work for real.
So I know we just talked about him real quick, just in passing, but so what are your thoughts on Saquon? It's kind of the same. I'm seeing him ranked in the same region as Zeke is, like in that 15 to 18-ish. I mean, obviously, past 2 years have been brutal for him, one with injury and then one last year still kind of hurt, but,
he was mostly garbage last year. Yeah. He had some bad luck last year too. Like he had a hamstring issue, and then he like stepped on a foot and rolled his ankle real bad.
Like
and it was
in between plays, not even
as big as a helmet. His foot was. It was crazy. I don't know. It's one of those like, hey, if you draft these guys, they've got some risks. I'd be more comfortable as a running back 2, but they could produce running back 1 numbers.
Yeah,
and you've seen it before, honestly. So, I don't know. How gutsy do you feel? I went in on him last year, and it was a bad experience, so I'm less likely to do it. But someone's going to get him, and it could end up being a total steal.
It's funny because, again, I'm reading all these preseason reports, and I read 2 articles with conflicting views 100%.
Yeah.
So one was talking about Saquon saying, like, from 2 NFC scouts or multiple NFC scouts saying he doesn't know how to play the running back position and that he always is trying to go for the home run, that he'll just kind of like juke around, go left, go horizontally.
Yeah, he does do that.
He does do that. Hitting the hole and realizing a 4-yard gain in the NFL is good. Like, that's what you want.
Yeah.
So to hear that he doesn't know how to play his position is a little concerning, but I get that because, yes, in college he was so explosive. He would be dancing around in the backfield and, bust through and be able to get those huge runs. So I can see that a little bit. But then, on the other hand, I was reading that he's having the best camp of his career. He's looking explosive. He had a whole year to get healthy. or a whole, off season kind of thing. So again, it's just these differing things. Saying he's looking to the best of his career. He doesn't know how to play his position. Like what
Yeah,
is it?
that's exactly the gamble, right? That's exactly what we're talking about. He could be a number one, or he could be a second or third running back for you, and you have
Yeah.
to decide how strong you feel about it personally. I think we're not going to talk anybody in or out on him.
No.
What you've seen enough already in like the 3-4 years he's been in the league to know what he's capable of on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Well, and then sorry, one more last one. So again, I'm seeing him in the 15 to 18 range. But then I was looking at, I didn't read the article, but the headline from Field Yates was that Saquon Barkley being drafted way too high. I'm like, okay, this guy is literally all over the map. It's just impossible right now.
Yeah, it's going to be all over the place. It's going to be one of those, in the moment you're going to have to see like how lucky you feeling, and
Yeah.
it's going to be like a big name for sure. And people are going to be like, oh damn, like you've got McCaffrey and Kamara in the second and Saquon in the third, and you're like, oh my gosh, if the stars align, I'll be unbeatable. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or McCaffrey could
0 for 3.
step on a nail, and then Kamara has to go to court, and
Jail.
then Saquon steps on somebody's foot. Like, I don't know, anything can happen there, but you could end up with that as like your 1, 2, 3, because that's kind of where they're going in drafts.
Yeah.
And people would be like,
oh my gosh,
3-4 years ago, this would be the most unstoppable force ever.
This is where blind resumes come in, because that's the name factor. That's the name factor. But as you said, they could go 0 for 3 and you get nothing out of them. But
that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I do want to talk briefly about the receivers, because you've got Galladay, who was super disappointing last year.
Yes.
I don't know if he had health issues. I think some news of that's coming out. It's his second year in the team. I'm a Kadarius Toney fan.
You do love that guy.
I loved his talent, and I liked it when he gets the ball in his hands. He's pretty electric. They couldn't seem to find the right way to get him involved last year, and he had some injury issues too.
He did.
And so did Sterling Shepard, who I also like. I like the guys in the receiving room. I don't know if it's Jones can't get him the ball or what, but it's not seeming to work out that well. However, I think if I'm taking a risk on one of those guys, especially based on where they're being drafted, I'm probably going with Toney.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you'll be able to get Galladay much later.
Later than Toney, or later than where he normally would go?
I'm sorry? Oh, both.
You think he'll be after Toney?
Oh, yes. 100%,
yeah.
I think he will be. And what was this weird? I mean, even when he was in Detroit, like, yes, he had 2 good years, but he was so feast or famine, because I had him, I think, his really good year in Detroit. But he would have games where he'd be like, yes, 5 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. But then he'd also have games like 3 for 30. So at the end total, yes, the numbers were good, 1,300 yards, like 9 touchdowns. But again, it would be in like 4 games he got all that. So you kind of want to, he's not consistent. And
that's frustrating.
Obviously nothing yet last year. But so yeah, suffice to say, I feel like he's going to be around pretty late.
Toney reminds me of Percy Harvin, who I love. I was always in on Percy Harvin, and yeah, he may be just as likely to get injured as Percy Harvin was. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Listen, we gotta hit up some On Campus, our newest segment. We need a sounder for it, like a On Campus.
You can't just do the same thing as blind resumes.
Why not? That could be like all of our segments.
There's all the segments. Trivia time.
NFC East preview.
We'll figure that out. We'll get it.
We'll figure out On Campus.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get one of those sweet voiceover guys to do it for us. Okay.
Or like
I have got a team that I'm going to talk to you about. I'm trying to figure out the order in which I want to do all of this. I think I'm going to start with the running backs, because quarterback and tight end. Quarterback obviously gives it away. Tight end probably gives it away. I think you would know this. So I'm going to start with the running backs, and I'll go to receivers. And then we'll move to the others if we need them.
I feel like I'm just going to tank this. I'm already embarrassed.
All right. So one of the reasons I like this is because this university has got several running backs in the league. So running back, Ohio State, which may give it away, but I don't think so. There's a bunch of these guys in the league.
There's a lot.
Running back 2, Rutgers. Not as many of those, but it's a running back 2, so you may not know it.
Ugh. Okay.
Wide receiver, Minnesota. Wide receiver 2, I'm not even certain this is their wide receiver 2. Texas.
What did you say? Texas?
Yeah.
Texas.
Tight end, Oklahoma.
I think I feel pretty good just with before you said tight end. The Rutgers threw me as running back, So I'm just gonna guess on that one. So I'm gonna say the team. I'm gonna say it's Baltimore.
Quarterback Louisville.
Yes.
Lamar.
So
Action
yeah.
Jackson.
So you said Ohio State. I was like, all right, there's Zeke, there's J.K. Dobbins, there's Trey Sermon. It's like, okay,
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde. Is he still kicking?
I don't know.
So then he said Rutgers. I was like, who the hell? So I was like, is that Gus Edwards?
That's Gus Edwards.
I mean, yeah. And then once you said Minnesota, I was like,
Minnesota,
okay,
I thought would give it away with Bateman.
Rashad
Yeah.
Bateman.
Yeah.
That helped. So like,
Texas is Devin Duvernay. I wasn't even certain he's their number 2, but I think right now he's at least in the running for it.
Okay, fair.
The Oklahoma tight end Mark Andrews would have given it away for me had I not already known.
I was going to say
Bateman, but yeah,
that did not give it away for me.
Really?
I mean,
yeah.
Once I had Baltimore ahead, I'm like, okay, Mark Andrews. I'm like, I honestly don't know where Mark Andrews went. He said Oklahoma. I'm like, okay, I'll say yes.
I guess so.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that. Mark Andrews also just looks like he's 50, so I feel like he's just been in the league forever. So I was like, he's not like an Oklahoma.
Yeah, he played for Barry Switzer back in the 80s.
See, I pictured like him as a Rutgers guy. Like he looks like a Rutgers guy.
Could be a Rutgers man. Yeah.
So okay, I appreciate it. That was a good one. It wasn't too easy, not like extremely hard. So that was good.
I think on every team, you're going to have at least one position where it kind of totally gives away, other than the quarterback, which is an obvious one.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be one of the running backs or something that I mean, it's just not quite enough diversity in
Alabama,
schools, but
they have a ton of running backs out there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see. We will see.
Good on campus, man. Good on campus.
On campus. I got one more thing I wanted to tell some people about. All right. So we always do our DraftKings bets. And I wanted to go ahead and give us a little teaser. So I took a look at the season-long player prop bets. And I've got a few that I want to cover today because I think it'd be kind of fun. I'll kind of sprinkle these in each episode here through the rest of the preseason. But I want to take a look specifically. Sprinkle them in. I want to take a look specifically at rushing and receiving yardages. Most people will tell you to take the unders on early season props because it's safer given that there's so much injury in the NFL.
Right.
I, however, am an optimist eternally, and I will take the overs on all of them. So here's who I like to hit the over on yardage.
Let me call a quick timeout. Please tell me you took like all the overs on the Baltimore running backs last year. Like
every running back. Yeah, Dobbins going to crush it. Edwards going to crush it. I didn't do any preseason props last year, and this might come to bite me right in the butt as well. But we will see. We will see. Maybe I'm cursing them. We'll find out. I got to go on record to find out.
Kemper cursed.
So for rushing yards, I like A.J. Dillon to go over 775.5 yards. I think he's going to be a monster this year.
That's fair.
Even in a split backfield. I got Austin Eckler over 800.5 rushing yards, which I know he's a hybrid and he gets a lot of receiving. A lot of his work is done in the air, but I just thought 800 yards is pretty light for him.
Doable. On
the receiving end, I've got Brandon Cooks going over 950.5 receiving yards. I think he's 1,000-yard receiver. Lock it in. No one ever thinks about him that way, but I just feel like
there's 17 games. Like
17 games, right? He's good for it. I mean, it's like 55, 60 yards a game. I think he can do that. And then Rashad Bateman, Minnesota, 850.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to be an absolute steal in the draft this year. He's their number one. Mark Andrews is technically the number one, but I think he's the number one receiver. He's a PPR guy. I'm going all in.
What did he finish with last year?
Not that many, probably. I don't know. Probably less than that because they had Hollywood, and it was his rookie year,
Still. Okay. No, that's fair. I like all those, actually. I like the A.J. Dillon one. I think those are all totally doable.
Lock it in. I would have parlayed them. They won't let you parlay them on DraftKings, at least. You can't parlay all those together. So they're each individual bets.
Okay. Nice. Well played. Played. All right. So there we have it. We did on campus. I survived. Thank God. So far this year, we've done the Philadelphians and the Baltimoreans. Is that right? Sure. I'm gonna go with that.
Why not?
And just did the little NFC East, man. So a lot going on. So yeah, next episode, we're going to be doing one more division. As Kemp said, we're doing one division at a time from here on out, and then we'll be going into our mock drafts. So stay tuned for those. So yeah, man, great episode. I'm just, again, I can't tell you how relieved I am that I survived on campus. So with that in mind, as always, keep on folding.
Fold it.